Madam Chair, I yield.
Gentleman yields back. I have a few more questions.
Right.
The first is on land ports of entry. These are so critical for both economic opportunity and increasing cross-border commerce, which is going to provide economic development and jobs in America, but also for security. The potential for additional hard drugs. We've seen the vast majority of the drugs are coming through the ports of entry, as you mentioned, plus other contraband and things that could make it through the ports of entry. So this is these ports of entries they're a part of border security, but they're also a part of economic development and opportunity. And they are, many of them are woefully inadequate, like the Douglas Port of Entry in my district. Built in 1933, this needs to be replaced, and we've been advocating for it since I've been here. Glad to see that it is, there's a feasibility study going on now, and there is an opportunity for it to be funded in the future. Have you been to the Douglas Port of Entry, and can you talk about the importance to upgrade ports of entry like this, both for economic opportunity and for security and counterterrorism mission?
Absolutely. I have been to the Douglas Port of Entry multiple times. Challenging facility, to say the least, especially given the growth in traffic since the 1930s.
Yes.
The change in our mission, the change in our agency composition, it wasn't designed for where we are today. So the imperative to invest both in the physical infrastructure to accommodate the flow, but also the security technology, the offices, the detention areas, all of that is critical so we can facilitate that cross-border trade and travel. So we have initiated a feasibility study on the Port of Douglas that's going to tell us both the planning factors for additional cargo flow as well as the regular travel. We're going to need to then put a budget wedge against that study to see if we can modernize the port itself, and we have in our planning, but also in what's the right structure for the future of the port. And that's an area that we need to invest in across the board on the border, as well as in partnership with Mexico and Canada. Because if we don't align our investments and our priorities, we can create real challenges.
I agree. Can you tell me where the Douglas Port fits in your priorities right now on the list?
The modernization of the Douglas Port of Entry is a top 10 priority that we have budgeted in the out years.
Okay, top 10, but I mean, we just usually only get 0 to 2, it seems, over the last few years. So it was in the 5-year plan. Top 10 doesn't sound as high as I would like it to be.
I believe it's in 19 or 20. I'll get back to you, Chairwoman, on exactly
in FY19 or FY20,
yes.
You mean, as working through. Okay, great, thank you. The other element has been talked about already is the opioid crisis, fentanyl specifically coming through the ports of entry. Do you have the adequate technology to detect it? It can be deadly to our agents as well, and the training that they need in order to identify and be able to respond quickly should they be exposed to it?
So middle of last year, I commissioned a counter-opioid strategy at CBP, and it is attacking everything from the advanced data, for instance, in the international mail environment, to the technology we need to detect small vials of fentanyl, which is extraordinarily potent, as you referenced, the ability to test it, not only for the safety of our officers and ag specialists and canines, but also give us the quick reaction so that we can do with an investigative partner a controlled delivery and address the network that's bringing that into the country and not just make that individual seizure. So we have benefited from support from Congress to invest in testing technology both in 17 and now in 18. We're getting that out to all of the key ports of entry that need it, and we're also buying naloxone so that if there's an accidental exposure that creates a health hazard for our personnel, that they have naloxone on site to address that quickly, and it works also for our canines as well.
You said you're buying naloxone. Is it not available right now at all ports of entry?
It's available at all ports of entry, but we want to deploy more, so it's more readily accessible because of how quickly and how potent this drug acts.
Great, thank you. All right, Mr. Correa, do you have any more questions? Okay. I want to thank our witness for your valuable testimony and members for the questions. The members of the committee may have some additional questions for the witness. I'd ask you to respond to those in writing. Pursuant to Committee Rule 7E, the hearing record will be held open for 10 days. And without objection, the committee stands adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.